Hi, my name is Isabella Perez. I am a fourth year undergraduate, so I'm a senior, and I play the bassoon.
Well, welcome and congratulations on winning the concerto competition. You're one of four who are going to be playing a concerto coming up, a Mozart concerto,
Yes.
right? So, what did it feel like to be chosen?
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. I remember the night before was really hectic because I had made a really lengthy journey to Houston, and so when semis happened, it was a Thursday night. And when I found out that I advanced to finals in the semis, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then they immediately told me, like, hey, Saturday afternoon, like, that's when your finals performance is, which kind of posed a conflict because I had a big Houston trip on Friday. Um, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, should I still go to Houston? Because it was going to be like an all day thing. And maybe I was going to stay in Houston for the rest of the week. But I was like, okay, I think I can make that Houston trip and still be able to come back and play
Wow.
really awesome on Saturday. So I remember it was early morning drive to Houston and then stayed there the entire day. And then I came back around like 9 p.m. and I was so dead. I remember I just hit my bed, flopped on it. And then I woke up the next morning and I remember like being so sick and like tired. And so for that finals performance, I really was just like drank a bunch of Gatorade, took a bunch of Tylenol, and was just ready to play. 2:30 when I played, I remember just like going on the stage, doing my thing, and then walking back off because I was like, I've had a long week, but like all I got to do is just like go out there, do my thing for 15 minutes, play amazingly, and then get off, and then I can take a big fat nap.
Yeah. Did the stars align? Was it like an amazing performance for the finals, or was it just kind of muscle memory? You had done it so many times.
I think so. I was a little freaked out because I was like, well, I don't know if me being tired is going to hinder this performance at all. So when I got on stage and, got used to my surroundings, kind of saw the stage, the audience, and like my pianist, I kind of looked at my pianist and I was like, well, we're going to do this. Like everything's going to be okay. And I remember getting halfway through the piece and I was like, oh, this is fine. Like we're all good.
Okay. You locked it in.
Yeah.
So you're undergraduate, right? Which
Yes.
is like so rare because like it's so hard to win this thing. That's almost all grad students. In
Hmm.
fact, I think this year you're the only undergrad.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. So like how did you even decide to go out for it?
Well, I knew that the concerto competition was something I kind of always wanted to do because I remember there was a girl in my studio my freshman year who won the concerto competition, and I remember her preparing for it and then her performance of it, and I remember being in that audience and just thinking like, oh my gosh, like I really want to do this. I don't know what I would play. I don't know how I'm gonna do this because like you said, a lot of the grad students, DMA students tend to win this thing. But I was like, okay, if I just find a piece that I really jive with and do really well, all I can do, at semis or finals or whatever is like play my best. And if the judges like it, then they like it. But I was just thinking like, well, I can put my musical voice out there and whatever happens, happens. And so I think the stars definitely aligned for this one because it's not something that I expected to win. I just kept thinking to myself, like, oh, like it would be really awesome to win. And I always imagined myself winning it first. And so when I actually did win it, I was like, oh, it like I was kind of manifesting it in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it is the pinnacle of classical music to be a soloist with
Yeah.
a concerto. Have you ever played a concerto with an orchestra before?
No, I haven't ever, which I don't know if that's a bad thing. Maybe I should have some experience beforehand, but
Well,
I've
this is where you get
always
experience in school,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
I've
yeah.
always wanted to do that kind of thing. And I always dreamt of being that really awesome bassoonist in the front and just doing my thing in the orchestra and me just playing like really awesomely. So it's kind of a dream come true that this is happening because I feel like, oh, like I've made it in a way because I always remember seeing like soloists with an orchestra on videos and on YouTube, and I just remember thinking they were so cool. And I was like, how am I going to do that? Like, how am I going to get there? How am I going to be that soloist with that orchestra? So it's really awesome that I had this opportunity to be with the UT Chamber Orchestra and do the Mozart.
Yeah, and how did you choose Mozart? How did you choose this piece?
Well, the Mozart is definitely a piece that all bassoonists should know and do know. So it kind of felt like the most obvious choice for me to pick the Mozart. But I remember that me and my teacher, we decided on it because it's asked on a lot of my graduate school repertoire, and it's also asked on like many orchestral audition lists. Basically anywhere that you audition for in a bassoon job, they're going to ask for the Mozart Bassoon Concerto. So me and her both decided, like, I think it would be the best thing to learn this concerto. And it's kind of almost like a rite of passage to do the Mozart Bassoon Concerto before you graduate from your undergrad. So I was like, ugh, like, the time has come. Like, we got to do
Yeah.
it.
It's like your undergraduate thesis, right?
Yeah. And so I've always known about this piece ever since I was a baby bassoonist. I had just never tackled it because I always thought like, oh, the greats do this one. Like I have to be at a certain level in order to do this one. And a part of me kind of always felt like, oh, I can't do it because it's so hard and it's the piece that everybody knows. But I think this semester I was just like, you know what? What if I did it? Like, let's do it. Let's learn it. Let's go out here and try my best.
Yeah, I mean, did you ever think about trying to learn a piece that wasn't so well known? Because like you said, like everyone knows this piece. So everyone knows what to listen for. And
yeah, that was the big thing. That's what scared me about choosing it. But I definitely wanted to do something else. But it was either just too long or I was learning so much music that I was thinking like, oh, if I put something else that I don't really know, like I might have too much on my plate. And so after thinking about it, I just thought like the Mozart is something that I should probably have under my belt. So it's going to be the best thing. But I definitely was worried about just the familiarity that every bassoonist has with this piece because of course, it's the standard in our repertoire and it's Mozart and everybody knows Mozart and there's a certain Mozart style. And so I thought like, oh my gosh, like if I play this wrong, everyone's going to know. If I do something that deviates from the norm, then everyone's going to know. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I guess that's up to the listener. But I personally like approached Mozart with my own musical voice in mind, obviously doing the Mozart classical style. But I just made sure that I was true to myself, even though I was playing this piece that everybody does at some point in their bassoon lives. And a lot of people think that it should be played a certain way. But I think that with a piece so standard and so well known, like you got to put a little bit of yourself in there and really make it yours.
Yeah. Have you been listening to a lot of recordings of it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many great bassoonists that have many great recordings out there. I listened to a bunch, especially when it came to like working out the little intricacies in the music, because there's a lot in that piece. It sounds so simple, but there's
That's
a
the
lot
hard part about Mozart, is it sounds so simple. It's almost like a nakedness, like, people can see everything.
Which is the hardest part, actually.
Exactly, yeah.
I remember listening to a lot of recordings of the cadenzas, because there's a big cadenza in the first movement at the end, and then there's a kind of smaller but still really important cadenza in the second movement. And so trying to get some inspiration for what I wanted to do in my own cadenza, I definitely listened to a lot of performances of the Mozart of other people playing it so that I could get an idea of like, okay, what are they doing? I like this. I don't like this. Ooh, maybe I can do that. So it gave me a better sense of the piece, and especially when I was creating that cadenza.
Yeah, and we're still a little ways away from the concert, but what is your like practice? What does it look like up until this point, and what do you see your practice regimen being like all the way up until the day you perform?
I think my practice regimen is a lot about the fine tuning because I have a really good scope and grasp of the piece. But I think right now it's a lot about just fine tuning and really making sure like, okay, this is what I want to do here. This is what I want to do here. Like really solidifying those decisions so that my brain can make those kind of neural connections when I'm out there in the performance and it's, high stakes, nerves are high, and I got to make a decision on the spot and make sure that my musicality is coming out. Also memorizing it, which I'm not worried about, but it can be kind of a stressful environment when, you're the soloist and you have the orchestra behind you and the audience is like, oh, she's playing this piece. And you're standing there like, okay, I got to do my best. Like, here's the next note. Here's the next note. But I don't think I'm worried about it. Like, I know the piece pretty well and I'm really solidified in my practicing. And I think it's going to be great on the time of the concert.
Do you practice it every day, or do you ever like shelf it for a couple weeks or a couple days, or how does that work?
I actually think I find that shelving it for a couple of days, and I think once I did it for a week and I came back and it was like automatically better, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't like to work on it every day because I feel like it can get monotonous, and there comes a point where I'm like, okay, I'm learning, then I'm not learning. I think I've capped it at this practice hour or this day. Like, I've worked on it too long and I got to work on something else. But every time I take that break, I find that when I come back to the Mozart, I find either something that I didn't notice before when I was playing, or something that I was working on definitely got better. So in my practice routine, I definitely think that breaks are really essential, and they're definitely a priority when I practice, because I think I just learn so much better and feel so much better when I take those breaks.
Yeah, and speaking of practicing, like you're obviously each teacher you work with is going to be different, but like your teacher really approaches things differently, like the way you stand and the way you breathe, right? Like she wrote the book on it,
Yes.
right? So like how do you think your like just overall practicing is different because of who you study with, as opposed to if you studied with someone else?
I think my professor's awesome. And at the core of her teaching, she's very much like, every sound that you make, it's got to be intentional. It's got to have soul. And you have to know the reason why you're doing it. And not only music, but also internally, you got to think like, okay, what is my body doing? How can I make that beautiful sound always and effortlessly? And so she really focuses on that in our lessons, that it's just become automatic. Like, my body's like, okay, like, relax here. And you just got to make every time, like, you got to think about being effortless and just playing with your soul first, not what's right or what's correct, but with you in mind and making that beautiful sound.
Yeah, great. And tell us a little bit like how you got here to Butler, how you came to the bassoon. I know you came from really far away, right? All the way from San Antonio,
Yeah,
right?
not that far, but a little far.
I'm joking because there's people in this building from like China, all over the place, right? So it's always nice when there's someone from close by.
Yeah, it's not that far. I tend to go home a lot. The drive is not bad at all.
There's always construction though. Lots and lots of construction.
Yeah, I think that's been there since I was a kid. I don't think it's
Really?
ever gotten any better.
I know. My kids like to go to the Six Flags. And I don't like going to it just because the construction. It takes so long to get there. So
yeah. It's every time I go out there, I have to like mentally prepare myself for that traffic.
So how tell us a little bit about your upbringing in San Antonio and how you got into the bassoon and then how you got over here to Butler.
Well, San Antonio has a really vibrant music scene, and I think anywhere in Texas that you go has a really thriving and great band program. So when I was in 6th grade, or before that, like 5th grade, I knew that I wanted to do something with music. I just didn't know what. I had previously played the violin a little bit in elementary school, but I was not good at it. And so my parents were like, oh, you should stick with orchestra. And I said, no. So band was kind of the next best thing. And I didn't know what instrument I wanted to play yet. So my band director had me play oboe for a little bit. And I really liked the oboe. And then my parents actually moved to a different part of San Antonio. So I had to go and audition at the other school's band program. And at the time, the band director there was telling me like, hey, like, I think you're a great oboe player, but we actually have way too many oboes and 0 bassoons, which is crazy to me, but also not when you realize that bassoon is such a niche instrument that not a lot of people play it. And so the band director had asked me if I wanted to switch to bassoon. And I was really not sure about it because I really loved the oboe, but I always thought the bassoon was funny looking. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. I don't know if I'll stick with it, but I'll try it. And so the summer before my 7th grade, I spent some time just getting used to the bassoon, and it was so hard. It
Yeah.
was so much
It
harder.
looks hard. It looks
Yeah, I
hard.
mean,
Yeah.
all those thumb keys is like,
Yeah.
whew. And I remember,
It looks
um,
awkward to hold. I mean, I've never held one,
yeah,
but it just looks awkward. Yeah.
yeah. I think after the first month you get used to it,
Hmm.
but you're just sitting there like, am I doing this right? Like,
Yeah.
does this look right? And so that entire summer was just spent learning it. And I remember I would practice in my tiny closet because we lived in an apartment at that time. And my
Oh.
mom would come and check on me and be like, hey, how are you doing? And I would just sit there and cry and be like, Mom, I don't know what to do. I figured it out eventually, but it was so difficult, but so worth it.
So it's like a walk-in closet, and you close
Yeah.
the door, and yeah.
Yeah. And she would just let me do my own thing in there. And I'm not sure if the upstairs or the downstairs neighbor ever heard anything or complained, but I was rocking it out in my closet for like a year.
That's amazing. I mean, it's amazing to be a band director, and that's a big ask.
Yeah.
Like, we want you in the band, but can you learn a new instrument?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so I guess you were in 7th grade.
Mhm.
So they would have started like 2 years before. So you're like 2 years
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah, technically, yeah. So in my school district at least, they start you 6th grade. They kind of get the idea of band in your head at
Mhm.
5th grade, but you don't really get to touch the instrument until 6th grade. But I never looked at learning the bassoon as like, oh, like I have to do this. I've always loved learning new instruments, especially as a kid. I remember my mom taking me to the mall, and there was a music store in the mall. I think it was a piano gallery. And I would be like, Mom, can we please go in there? Like, I had no idea what a piano was. I had no idea how to play it, but I would beg her to let her take me there so I could just tinker around on the pianos. Although I don't know why they would let a little 4-year-old go and tinker around on the really adult and expensive pianos. But I've always
super cute, and like it gets other people into the store.
Yeah, my
who
mom
might
would
like,
distract the store clerk, and I would just be tinkering on the really expensive pianos. But anyways, I've always loved learning new instruments. So approaching the bassoon was just like, oh, okay, this is a new thing to do. It's a new hobby. And after, playing it for a year, it kind of went from hobby to what if I could go professional with this? What if I could go to college for this? Because honestly, I really couldn't imagine myself doing anything other than music. I didn't know exactly what I would do or how I would do it. I just knew that music was always a part of me, which is weird because my family doesn't play any instruments. Like, in my immediate family and even my external family, like, no one plays an instrument. No one's been in band or orchestra. So I kind of found it by myself. But I think it's because I always had this love for learning, and I always really loved music, whether it was the car radio or like a physical instrument or people singing on the streets. Just anything with music I really loved and wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, what did your parents think about you when you said, like, I want to actually do this professionally? I want to go to college for this.
They were really nervous at first because I think that not a lot of people go into music. Like, it's not the norm, especially where I was from and especially my upbringing. But after, I showed them like, hey, this is what I do, and I had many long conversations with them about it, they eventually were like, okay, we trust you and we really want to see where this goes and we want to support you. So they had their concerns about it, but through and through, they've always been really supportive, which has put my mind at ease for sure. Because whenever there comes like a problem or I'm not sure where my career is going to go, or I just have a bad day in the practice room, I usually call my parents and they're like, hey, like, it's okay. Like, you've always pulled through and you're Bella Perez. Like,
Yeah,
I
you
know
just won the concerto competition. Like, you're
Yeah.
doing okay. You're doing okay.
I think so. I think so. But they're like, hey, you'll do it. Like, it'll be fine. We don't know where that path is going to take you, but you're going to do it.
Yeah, just I mean, they must be super proud of you with this
Oh
concerto, right?
yeah.
I mean, I have kids. I can only imagine what it must feel like.
Hmm.
So, and it's like because when you're on stage, a concerto, solos, it's just like they're like a superstar. No matter,
Yeah.
it's incredible. So then, did you play in the like marching band in high school?
I did. I played saxophone for a little bit, and then
So
I,
another instrument,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. See, I love learning them, and then saxophone my freshman year, and then throughout high school it was bass clarinet.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
Wow, you're insane. So by the time you got to like applying for college, you knew four different instruments a little bit.
yeah. The violin.
Oh, I wasn't even counting violin.
Yeah,
Right? I was thinking oboe, bassoon, saxophone, and what's the other one?
oboe, bassoon, saxophone, bass
Bass
clarinet,
clarinet,
um,
and now yeah, violin.
violin. I also know the piano.
Okay.
I was a piano player before I was an oboe player. Yeah,
So,
I just know a lot.
so how did you even decide what instrument to apply to?
I I like honestly every instrument, and I dabbled in a little bit of each in high school. Though piano and bassoon have been my two main ones. But I think because I was just so involved in the band program and I was doing bassoon every day, even after school and on the weekends, I was a practicing demon. My middle school teachers were so proud of me.
So even when you were playing saxophone, were you still also playing bassoon?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because we had marching band and I was doing sax, but then we had concert band at the same time and I was still doing bassoon then.
Gotcha.
So it was like a little bit on bassoon, a little bit on sax. But I always kept the bassoon. I only marched sax and bass clarinet when it was marching season, but I always went back to bassoon.
Okay. Do you play in the marching band here?
I don't, but they look so cool. I wish
They
I
do
would
look
have
cool
done
with
it.
the hats and all that.
Oh,
I
it's
know.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's a big time commitment, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's a huge
but it
time
looks so
commitment.
fun. A part of me would definitely learn another instrument to
Yeah.
be in it. Probably, I don't know. The cymbal line looks really cool in their the battery percussion. I would love to do that. I've never
Pick
done
up
a
another
percussion.
instrument. What
Yeah,
the
yeah.
heck,
Why
right?
don't I?
Yeah, yeah. So cool. So yeah, so you've got this amazing concerto coming up. For people who have never heard the piece, what would you describe it as?
I would describe it as being very grandiose. It's very Mozart. It's very out there. I wouldn't say it's rude, but it's definitely flashy, but also polite. I think the first movement is a great example of just being royalty, I think, and getting to really shine with all of those really hard 16th note flicks. But there's also some really sweet moments in there too. The second movement is definitely like a very a very operatic love song. I think it's my favorite movement off of the entire concerto because I think I've always just loved a good lyrical movement.
Mm-hmm.
And in that second movement is where I can really just sing, especially in my cadenza. I'm really excited for that cadenza because you can just like make it what you want within limits.
Yeah.
But I find that the second movement is where I can really just like sing it. And then the third movement is just all about having fun. And yeah, the third movement is not played a lot actually in the standard repertoire. Usually in auditions, they'll ask for the first movement or the exposition of the first movement and some of the second movement. But a lot of people don't usually play the third movement. So I'm really excited for people to get to hear how fun it is.
Yeah, well, most people don't play it with an orchestra.
Yeah.
That's why. You have to.
Yeah.
So what are your plans once you graduate? Because you graduate in May, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are your
Yes.
plans after that?
I still kind of sometimes I feel like a freshman. I'm like, wow, I'm already a senior. Oh my gosh. So I plan to go back to San Antonio because I love what I do here. I would keep doing it forever and ever. I could be a student here forever if I could.
Some people are.
Yeah.
We've got people who've they're on their second doctorate.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, I know. And
Honestly,
they're
a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Some people just love it. Yeah.
Yeah. My parents tell me all the time, like, you're not tired of school. I'm like, no, I'm having a great time. But I'm planning to actually go home back to San Antonio. And just being able to be back with my family and also doing my music thing, but doing it back home and getting that chance to just think like, okay, like I've had a great 4 years. What do I want to do in the future with this? And just how am I going to move forward? Because I definitely want to go to grad school. A master's degree has always been in the plans for me. And I love doing bassoon so much, and I want to see where that continues. But like I said about breaks, it's really important for me to be able to step back and see what I've done and also to recharge. And so I think going home and learning how to be a bassoonist and kind of a mini professional back home when I'm not in school is going to be really eye-opening, because it's going to teach me like, okay, I can be independent and I can still be a professional outside of school. So I think the idea of leaving school kind of scares me, because it's all
Of course,
that
yeah.
I know, especially in music, being a part of the ensembles. But I think it'll teach me a good lesson about what it means to be a musician outside of the school. And it'll help me get confidence for sure in my playing, and knowing that I can still do this without being in school, and there's a lot more left for me outside.
Are there any ensembles you play with out there or that you'd like to? I know the San Antonio was Philharmonic or Symphony.
Mm-hmm.
They had like a rough few years, right? They like declared bankruptcy and like reorganized. I'm not quite sure of their status, but
Yeah, it's a little messy, but I've always wanted to play with them. So if there's an opportunity, I would love to be a sub or something like that. I don't know of any groups off the top of my head in San Antonio, but I know that I could definitely find some, whether it's like an actual professional group or just getting some friends together and being like, hey, let's go play here. Let's play this gig here. But also I think I'm wanting to get back in touch with my youth orchestra and doing some kind of volunteering in that way.
Nice, yeah.
Because I was in my youth orchestra since my 7th grade year. So the same year that I
Wow.
started the bassoon, because I just excelled like that. And I've always wanted to be a part of an orchestra. And so I did youth orchestra pretty much a lot of my middle school year and all of high school. And being there in that youth orchestra really taught me a lot about what it means to be a musician, what it means to play your part in orchestra, teamwork. And they gave so much to me that I want to give back and get involved. It's the Youth Orchestras of San Antonio.
Wow, wonderful. And speaking of all the people who supported you, like usually people in your position, like their family has to like fly in from all over the place. But I imagine it's easier for your family. So
yes.
who's going to be coming? Who's going to be in the audience watching you?
Definitely my parents. My mom has been like, hey, can you tell me what the date is again? Because I got to start calling people. I'm like, okay, I'll get the dates for you. So my mom, my dad, my little brother, who we've always had a room next to each other in every house that we lived in. So I've always been playing, and he's always had to put up with my bassooning. And sometimes he'll be like, hey, I'm on a call. Can you can you wrap it up? I'm like, yeah, no problem.
Well, now he'll see it was all worth it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So my family for sure, who has had to put up with my bassoon, but also some extended family for sure. But they're all in Texas, so it's an easy drive over.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. We just can't wait for the concert. And it's coming up. All the information is we're going to put it below, so how you can come, and it's going to be a fabulous concert. It's there's always 2 concerto concerts at the end of the semester, and they're some of my favorites. So we just can't wait to see you, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.